this video, I will be talking about Windows 7, which, you know, there's so much to talk about when it comes to Windows 7. Um, Most of it good, but there are a few little nitpicky points I want to get into, and we will. So, just let this thing load up. I don't know why this thing is giving such issues in my VM. I don't know. So I'm using Windows 7 Professional for this video. I actually have Windows 7 Ultimate, but that's on my laptop. I've got it virtualized there. So Windows 7. Well, after the rather tepid reception people gave Windows Vista, Microsoft, I think, they got the hint they needed to do something pretty spectacular with Windows 7. And they did. They did quite a bit of redesign for Windows 7. They managed to streamline it. It ran infinitely better than Windows Vista. You didn't have a lot of the sluggishness. And they also had a few other neat little features. You could probably see this in the taskbar here. It had what was referred to as arrow glass, which I believe was available on the Windows Home version and above. If you had the Windows 7 Starter, you did not get arrow glass. Starter was, I guess you would call it as, for whatever it means, the lightweight version of Windows 7. And it was functional. Let's put it that way. That was it. It was functional. But I believe it was on Windows Home. It was most definitely on Windows 7 Professional and Windows 7 Ultimate. It was this nice little translucent, bordering. When you brought up Windows, you see you had this nice translucent bordering. It had these wonderfully rounded corners on the windows, made it look a lot less blocky. You also had easier access to, like your computer, if you wanted to get to something that was on your C drive. Your libraries were all grouped up there. Your favorites were grouped up here. And it was really good. Also, I probably didn't point this out earlier, but I don't know if it was an XP, but I'm just going to go on the assumption. You could see up here, it would give you something like a path, depending on how deep the rabbit hole went in a file. So, and it was done in a way that people who really didn't know computers that well would be able to figure it out. They would know exactly where they were. And in my last video about Windows Vista, I had mentioned the sidebar. Windows 7 continued that with something called gadgets. These were the defaults, and a lot of them were pretty cool. Like I said, you had you could put your on-screen calendar, a clock, CPU meter, etc. One of the things that I really enjoyed about gadgets, as opposed to the sidebar, with the sidebar you were restricted to just there on the right side of your screen, but with the gadgets, you could move them anywhere you wanted to, which was nice. Unfortunately, there were problems. A lot of the apps, or excuse me, these little gadgets were constantly connected to the internet. and they were basically just open invitation for hackers. Anyone who wanted to come in and take control of your computer, they could. So Microsoft ended the gadgets store and pretty much disabled any gadgets that connect into the internet. From Windows 8 onwards, you had the apps, and you had the store, the Microsoft store, where you could get those apps, which I suppose is logical. Though, simply speaking for myself, I really did enjoy the gadgets, and back in the day, I used to have several of them, which, in retrospect, may not have been the brightest thing in the world, despite having a full um, antivirus and security suite on my computer at the time. But that was basically the last gasp of the sidebar and the gadgets before Windows 8 came out. It just this was, to me, I was very, very happy with it. It was stable. I had almost no problem with Windows 7. It was great. Of course, I think, I don't know if Chrome had come around. Yeah, I do believe Chrome was around then. So I went from Firefox to Chrome, and I bounce between the two. Every now and again, I will use Internet Explorer because there are just some websites that just refuse. They refuse to work with anything else. You end up with that you're still stuck with Internet Explorer. The menu went under yet another rework. You had a search bar here to search for programs and files. Um, you had your default programs set up here. Devices and printers, you had a nice shortcut there. Your control panel, access to your computer, uh, the library for your music, your pictures, your documents. It was all there. Um, I really haven't done a whole lot as far, with this particular virtual machine. So again, it's pretty perfunctory. It's pretty basic, but all of your programs were easily accessible, and you were able to see them. This was one of the ones that you still had the media center, and that, I believe, disappeared in Windows 8. But you still had the media player, which was really, I liked having the media player. Certainly, I used a couple other media players, mainly Winamp and Real Player. And these days, I don't know. I pretty much, if I'm using Windows, I'm using the Windows Media Player almost exclusively because I just, I'm not gonna sit there and fiddle around. Winamp, I don't believe. I have no idea what's going on with Winamp. I don't think they've updated in a long time. I don't even know if the company exists anymore. And Real Player, well, I have old. The only good thing I like about Real Player is that it does give you the ability, if you really, really want to, you can download and watch videos offline. I believe this too had a compatibility wizard, which would help you run programs from older operating systems. Now, whether or not that, I mean, I still ran a lot of programs. I had other computers. I had laptop computers that had Windows XP, so I could use the Windows XP to play those games if, for whatever reason, they didn't want to work on Windows 7. That and the fact also, I was running 64-bit operating systems, instead of 32, there should not have been much of a problem running a 32-bit program on a 64-bit OS. But there's always a possibility of compatibility issues. So of course, Windows 7 did come with a compatibility wizard somewhere. But yeah, I mean, this was really good. I got a great deal of use out of Windows 7, and even the computer I'm running on right now and recording this on. When Windows 10 came out, or it was about to come out, and I know a lot of us Windows 7 and Windows 8, 8.1 users, we got that nice little notice down here. You know, get in now while you can. Windows 10, you can upgrade for free. I think that's probably the biggest reason why I did upgrade. Well, I only wanted to upgrade the laptop because, to be perfectly honest, I did not like Windows 8 or 8.1. Well, yeah, I dealt better with 8.1 than I did with the original 8. I'm going to probably have to do a very short video on that with just a still image, because I do not have Windows 8 or 8.1. I don't actually have a copy of it available to use. So I may talk about that a little bit in the next video. The next video is going to be concentrating on what we have today, Windows 10. And my thoughts about Windows 10. So until then, I'm Naruko Murakami. See ya.